Try that again. What's up, people? Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Cup Chasers podcast. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. It's been a very interesting weekend in the Premier League. Of course, the Arsenal have won the North London Derby, and St. Totteringham's Day has come and gone once again. We are all very happy. I had a happy, wonderful St. Totteringham's Day myself. Of course, it could have been better, but Chris Wood's debut for Manchester City went splendidly for him. Pep looked pretty pleased about the myriad of misses that Chris Wood had up top for Nottingham Forest. Thank you for that, by the way, buddy. Potential robbery. The jury's still out over at Villa Park, because if Badiashiel's nudge was a foul, then oh my goodness, what's happened to this game? But yeah, we'll definitely get into that. Of course, are we Team Klopp or are we Team Mo Salah? That is the question. Who's to blame? What was going on there? Rumor has it Klopp just wanted a hug. Salah wasn't having it. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? Of course, there is Champions League action that we will get to a little bit of preview, discuss those. There's also the Battle of the Bridge again at on Thursday, I believe that is, along with plenty of action in the week. But right out the rip, let's get those likes up on the video. Of course, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. And if you're enjoying all the content, get that little notification bell on. Well, all right. Only one place to start. The North London Derby. King Kai putting in work. I particularly enjoyed this one immensely. In fact, Xavier came up to the house for my birthday, and we were able to watch this one together. He obviously didn't enjoy it as much as I did. Well, maybe he did. He doesn't like Spurs very much. But yeah, man, I thought that this was at the beginning of it, it's like, get the result, whatever you got to do, get the win. And we got the win, so I'm definitely happy about that. But all the memes that are going around where it's like Arsenal in the last 20 minutes and it's like people in war zones. And my favorite one is the one where it says Arsenal in the first 63 or Arsenal till the 63rd minute. And it's just this nice, handsome young man in his prime, height of his life. And then from 63rd on, it's like an 80-year-old dude who's just.
Yeah. That's actually the history nerd in me is that's actually a picture of a World War II soldier when he first entered the military and when he left the military 4 years later.
4 years? No.
It's not. Go Google it. It's a real
That's
picture.
Crazy.
Yeah, man.
Man.
It was rough.
Well, that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like at the end of that game. Thank you, David Raya. By the way,
hey. Yeah, man.
For that.
It was a birthday gift for you, man. Right? I think that happy birthday again. I mean, I know I told you, but since we said it on the show for X last time, same for you. Happy birthday, man. You gotta win for your birthday. I think that's good.
Yeah. Right? Hey. Beating Chelsea and winning the North London Derby either side of my birthday is a hell of a birthday present.
Yeah, man.
I'll take that every year. Every single year you can bring that.
Yeah, man.
But the real theory that I'm going to get behind, that I think what was going on for David Raya was he just wanted to we didn't want to beat Spurs too badly and really demoralize them and really just derail their season completely. We want to make sure they have hope.
Is that what that
was? We want to make sure that they have hope. And so they can gain a little momentum, get a win over Chelsea, get a little momentum, go ahead and put Klopp out of his misery at the weekend. And then, when they come up against you, they'll be flying high. That's the plan. We're just giving them momentum. giving them some motivation so that when you go to White Hart Lane, they actually play better than they play much better than they did on Sunday.
Okay.
Objectively, they weren't that bad actually. I like. I mean, they were tactically naive, but we knew that. We knew that was coming.
Yeah.
We knew that team wasn't going to do enough defensive work, but their strategy, they had the ball for the most part, so we sat off of them. Which I love the tactical versatility. I love that we did that, but also didn't change the personnel at all.
Right.
And we let them have the ball, and it was just like, all right, break us down. Go ahead. And it was shaky for a bit. Not gonna lie. First, their high press for at least 25 to 30 minutes, at least until the second goal, was causing issues. Romero hits the bar. The one goal, Van der Ven's offside by his butt. So they were definitely putting some pressure on. I thought we defended well, though. I definitely thought we defended well. And once again, set pieces. I mean, everybody and their grandmother knew we were coming for Vicario. You see the videos of Ben White trying to pull his glove off?
No, I didn't see that. But I mean, I
trying to unlatch his glove, like the Velcro on his keeper glove. He was trying to pull it off.
Hey man, you
he has to have someone else come put it back on him,
right?
Because goalkeepers' gloves, they keep them so stiff that they don't bend,
right?
So he would have to have somebody else come back over. So that will, he's just trying to annoy him.
That won't do your fingers any good if they're bending.
No, it was perfect. You love to see that from old Benny Blanco getting the goals last week and then doing some dirty work this week. But my thing about it is, like, they knew we were going to do that. Every other team we've played against, including City, had somebody there wrestling with Ben White, and didn't leave their goalkeeper on an island by himself. Yeah. Ben White didn't even do anything. He just stepped in front of him. He didn't even have to do anything. He just stepped in front of him, and Vicario melted.
That's enough, right?
It was, because Kai had a header in the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
Free header. All day long. Thank you.
Goal and assist.
Oh, yeah. My man of the match. I thought Saka was fantastic as well. That's what happens when you don't double team. Again, like every other team in the league, except for Chelsea, double teams Saka. You didn't double team him on Tuesday, and we dumped 5. You didn't double team him on Sunday, and he's got a goal and an assist. One of my favorite videos was the Tottenham fans were yelling at him while Saka's about to take the corner. They said, "You let your country down. You've let your country down. You've let your country down." And then after the assist, when they're running over to celebrate with Saka, he turns around and goes, "Yeah."
That stuff. I mean, I get the banter and it's fun, but it's also so weird to me, man. Because you're trying to like cause the guy to emote, but I mean, man. I don't know. I think that. I don't know what service that does when he plays for the English national team and they're English and they want him to play and perform. I don't get where that benefits them at all.
They did the same thing to Rice on the other side. Obviously not. They don't have a failed England penalty to reference, but they were abusing him as well. I love that both times we dumped it on him while they were giving it to him while they're taking the corner kicks. And then, we're talking about, what does Kai offer? What does, he does all this defensive work well, and yes, he did all that. He went up for the headers. He worked well defensively, getting back when we were in our lower shape. But, the pass to Saka for the goal is exquisite. Like, if that's KDB, we're sitting here going, oof, oof, oof. You know what I mean? hell of a ball, you know.
Yeah, man. I
And
mean,
the
I
touch
give them
from
one, you know. I think when they're good, they're good. You know, you don't take anything away. But I understand, you know, the narrative is not there because he's had a rough go of it.
he has, and he you know, he was awful for 3 years at Chelsea, and so he has that to work against. But he has had his best season, and I'll straight, you know, I'm the first one to say I'm so happy to be wrong. I couldn't be happier to be wrong
But
about this one.
you know,
You
the
know,
funny thing is that I think it's more. I don't think you were wrong as much as that your expectations were too high for what you. Well, I think the price you paid for him and what role that you assume they wanted him to fill, those things matching with what he came in as made you be like, this guy doesn't fit. But then
no.
when you figured out, and when Arteta figured out, like, hey, I'm gonna stay with you. This is how the thing will work. And then I think they just kind of made it go from there. And now he's shown, you know, where his quality is. Like you mentioned him tracking back and defending. Like you know, when you're an athlete. Whenever you're having like sort of a slump period, you do you do the things that you're good at so you can build up the confidence to do the things that you are struggling in. You know, you have, because it's mental. All of it's mental. So, you know, I give him a lot of credit for where he has come. And, you know, and you got to give the managers credit, you know, in Germany as well as at Arsenal for having faith in him, right? Because I mean, he hasn't really, he's just been potential, and he hasn't earned like, you need to be on the field because you're this world beater. And they're just like, hey man, we got faith in you, and we're gonna just see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen that Kai kind of, you know, as much as and I've said it before, it seems weird that professional footballers would need confidence and like confidence boosts or whatever. But we've seen that with many players over the years. And the fact that Arteta, even though people like me were coming for him, you know, saying, yo, this is a horrible mistake. You've made the mistake. But all the while, Arteta's in his ear. We got this. You're doing great. You're awesome. You know, keeping him going. And he's improved steadily and steadily. And he's coming good right when we need him at the right time. He's got however many goals in back-to-back games, assists. You know, he's doing the work. You know, we'd never have questioned his work rate. He's always, you know, worked hard, you know, and he's, like you say, he's built on the things that he was very comfortable doing. He's gotten better and better and better and better. And I mean, hell, if you know, the talk of, oh, we don't need to buy another striker because he's starting to score goals or whatever is kind of scary, I'll be honest. But if he's like, I had to ask myself, if he scores another 5 goals in 3 games and we win the title, I mean, it's 100% a success. We brought somebody in, highest paid player. He bags goals in the title running, and we win the league. I mean, you can't really argue with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it. I mean, but I mean, so will it take winning the title for him to be the success, or just if he stays consistent in what he's done?
Well, I think personally for me, I think he is a success. He's improved upon the player that he was supposed to replace in Granit Xhaka. So that at least as far as output, you know, Xhaka had 14 GA, 7 and 7. Kai's on like 15 and 7 or something like that. So he's improved there. Like I say, you know, I think the signing has definitely tipped to the success side. But whether or not we need another striker, he's got a lot of work to do in 3 games to make that a reality. You know what I mean? You know, there are ways to say, you know, maybe push Jesus to the right for Saka and then buy the front man and he and Kai split time, you know. But then the argument, because this is a whole a whole rabbit hole to jump into, but it also depends on whether or not what we do with Partey. Because if Partey's fit for 3 more games, does that justify us relying on him next season? So every one of these considerations go into where the money gets spent. You know what I mean? Because if we have to buy to replace Partey, there's a very clear world where Arsenal do not buy a striker this summer. I'm used to it. I'm just used to what Arsenal do. I'm used to what the Crunkies do. There is a very real chance we don't buy anyone and we go for the Zubamendis. And if we don't buy anyone and we land like Joshua Kimmich or Florian Wirtz, fine. I'm cool with that. If we plug the 8 hole, the left 8 for good, because I'm just not convinced that Thomas Partey is gonna be able to give us 38 games. If he does, fantastic. But that's the dilemma that Arteta and Edu have on their hands.
Well, do you think if for Partey, a healthy Partey, do you think he pushes to be a starter? And if he's not, does he push for a move if he's not going to be the starter?
I don't think that's an issue because Arteta knows, I know, the Arsenal fan base knows, Partey knows, if he's healthy, he's the starter. I mean, dude, Partey, Rice, Odegaard is our best midfield. For sure, without a doubt. And it's devastating. We've ran over. The Spurs couldn't get through us. We've ran Chelsea over. The first time that we saw it, we went toe-to-toe with you guys and went to penalties in the Community Shield. After the season before, you guys swept us aside 3 different times. You know what I mean? That is our best midfield, bar none. And that's why I think moving into next season, are we going to gamble on his health? That is a huge question that we have in the summer. Are we going to gamble on Partey's health? Because if we don't, if we do, and we don't buy backups, and we say we sign Jorginho for another year, Jorginho's a year older. El Neni's probably not getting another contract, and so we're stuck with the same, now we have to play Rice in the 6 when Partey goes down injured. So these are the considerations. If we don't get another midfielder, it'll be the same. There'll still be a hole in the formation if Partey, so that's the gamble. And Partey's track record is not awesome.
All right, but realistically, you would say how many seasons not to say that he can't play, but how many seasons as a high level player does he have left? What if he's healthy? You say what, 2, 3?
I thought he was done 2 months ago, like done. I was just so pissed, that we just never saw him. But if he stays healthy and doesn't get injured again, which I doubt will happen, but yeah, 2-3 years, he's got to be late 20s.
He's that 29, right? I think he's 29.
I think so. 30. He's 30.
Oh, ooh.
He'll be 31 this year.
Ooh.
So yeah, 2 maybe. Man, realistically, maybe 2. Another year.
Yeah, you got 2 max.
So in that case, they might just keep him and deal with it.
And just buy. You just buy another player. Yeah,
bring in Zubamendi. Pray that what that'll probably mean is that Zinchenko will stay. We'll pray for Timber's health. Tomiyasu will stay, and we won't spend money in the left back. We'll buy a midfielder, and I pray to the football gods that we go for a striker as well. We'll see. But a lot of it, like I say, depends on, like, if Partey goes down in the next game, then that solves that for itself, But
right,
if he stays healthy and Kai bags another 4 goals, 5 goals, it's giving Arteta and Edu a big headache, a good headache, but a big headache. You know what I mean? But yeah, as far as the Spurs game, man, I was chilling at halftime. You know,
Well, Spurs made it a game though.
they did. They definitely did. And once again, it's like, yeah, I started this out by saying we got it over the line, and that's all that matters, and I'm very grateful for that. But there's questions about David Raya, man. I have some doubts, some questions, because for me, the Champions League is about moments, right? We lost the Champions League the first moment for me when David Raya, right after Ben White is missed, and I didn't really fault Ben White for missing that shot, hitting it right at Neuer in the first leg. But right after that, David Raya's pulled a madness, and we didn't even recover in the next game. You know what I mean? So for me, that's two, like, and thankfully this one didn't cost us. If they'd have gotten a third goal, I was coming for David Raya. I would have been coming for him. Like, yeah, blasted, on blast. Because this is the most, that was the most embarrassing. Bro, David Raya's really shaking my faith.
Well, Arteta in public is not shaken by it because his words about Raya said that he's fine.
You gotta say that, man. You gotta say that. You gotta back your guy.
Or
Arteta's not Ten Hag, man. Arteta's not gonna throw people under the bus and then make them eat in the car.
Well, no, I wasn't saying throwing them under the bus. I mean, but you can also, there's a way. But I get it. I get it. That's just for fodder.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that was. It's not the first time he's had a lapse of judgment, mental error there. So that's also a spot we may be looking at. I don't know. Arteta seems to like him a lot, though. But he did have, the rest of the game he was better. So not too harsh, especially because we won. But also one other point I'll make is on the penalty, which, by the way, should never have been a penalty. Rice got all balls.
Yeah, he sure did.
But you notice that David Raya against Harry Kane goes 10 years early. The whistle hadn't even blown, and he's already dove to the right-hand corner. Against Sonny, he was hesitated. That was in his mind. You can tell it's in his mind. So on penalties, David Raya he's all up in his head. He's all over the place because he waited an eternity to dive to the right. Not saying he would have saved it. Heung-min Son is a fantastic penalty record. That was a fantastic penalty. Yeah. I'm not saying he would have saved it, but he definitely reacted like his feet were in molasses. But yeah. Enough hating on David Raya. I'm very, very happy, very ecstatic. I thought we defended like soldiers, like champions, really. And someone, I was listening to a podcast, the Football Terrace actually today, and they were talking about whether or not Arsenal deserved to win the title. And, it feels like it just because we're playing so well in the run-in. We're looking really good, but also I'm a firm believer in the table doesn't lie. And at the end of the season, if you didn't win the league, you didn't deserve to win the league. That's not to say you didn't deserve to win the league. If you don't win the league, whoever did deserves it more. We'll put it that way. Arsenal can deserve to win the league and still not win it because Man City deserves it more. I think that can definitely be true.
I mean, this is more a personal philosophy thing. I don't think anyone deserves anything. So, the outcome is the outcome. That's generally like why, I avoid relitigating things from the past. I might have my 2 cents, but then, I mean, what can I do to go back to change what's happened? I mean, I get it for conversation that makes sense. But normally whoever won, I can't really think more. I mean, for example, if we go back to an example, if I wanted to relitigate stuff that would make sense to do. Like when Liverpool won the league, and oh, shout out to my friend Asif. He's a Liverpool fan. He's watching the show, so he said he
Nice.
appreciated your comment about the gloves. But
Nice.
yeah. I mean, I try to keep, I make sure I let people know what we're doing, So
No, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was his name? Asif?
Yes, he's a
Shout
Liverpool
out
fan,
Asif.
which is why I never take shots at Liverpool, because he's a level-headed Liverpool fan. So I appreciate him being one of the
Hey,
best
I'm happy to find out that there are level-headed Liverpool fans out there.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And so, just looking at it, but I'm picking on Liverpool. The year Liverpool won, I remember this fondly because I have another friend that I met in Colombia as well, because I met Asif in Colombia, Ibrahim, and he's a Liverpool fan. And that season during COVID is just like, you looked at Liverpool and everything around everybody else except them was falling apart. And I'm not going to say they deserve it, but you're like, well, there's a lot of external factors that played a role in that. But you know what? They won by a giant margin. So, I mean, what can you say, right? They did what they needed to do, and, they moved on from there. They won a double that year. So, I think you respect that. But then if I go backwards, right, the year after City won their first one in like 30,000 years, and Alex Ferguson's last year, and Van Persie, which went to United, City completely bottled that whole season. City played like garbage. They lost the FA Cup final to Roberto Martinez's Wigan team, who got relegated that year. They literally were relegated and then won a trophy. And so you look at that, and so
wait, did they play Europa League the next season from the championship?
They sure did, and got smashed. And the thing is you look at it and you say, well, I'm not going to use deserve, because United, and if we're being United, wasn't that good the next year. I mean, Van Persie was scoring, and he gave them what they needed to get over the top, but they weren't like great that year. So, I look at it and I say, whoever won the title at the end of the day, they won it, right? I mean, if we look at Leicester, we've investigated Leicester and how Spurs completely did what Spurs do. The year Leicester won the title, I mean, it was sitting there for Spurs to win the league, and they were like, "No, we don't want it." So
Well, this is the history of the Tottenham.
And so just looking at it, because City has been in several run-ins similar to this, where they go to the final day. I mean, I know there's one with Liverpool, one with United. I think there's two with Liverpool. Sorry, two with Liverpool, one with United. And both teams were quality opponents. You'll never catch me talking bad about like the team or their culture. But, at the end of the day, the result is a result. You got to do what you got to do. These guys and these teams are professionals. We just root for them and we hope for the best so we can feel good, right? But I think we enjoy moment by moment. And so, I mean, I think for you guys to win the North London Derby, even in the midst of a little bit of shakiness at the end, my mantra, as long as the end result is all that matters, you won. That nobody cares about anything else, because nobody's going back to look and say, oh, you didn't score the most goals. I don't care. Did we win? Like, I don't care about any of that. So, respect to you all. You got two wins that day, right? You got a derby win or a derby win and a league win. I think that's worth it. And Havertz has shown that he's been better, and that you can adapt some, because Asif pointed that out too. He's like, Arsenal adapted where you played the long balls to Havertz because he's good at hold up play. And, it's a little bit different than how you normally play, but Havertz showed his worth because, I mean, he's a big, giant guy, and he has a body, and he's good at hold-up play. And no shots at Haaland, but he's better at it than Haaland as far as hold-up play goes. So, yeah, man, obviously, absolutely, you're welcome for the shout-out. And so, I look at it and I say, you play who's in front of you, and the game is two halves, right? And your goal is to have the most goals at the end of the half, and you just leave it like at both halves, and you leave it like that.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you say, man, I'm pumped. I'm ecstatic that we won. That no matter how we did it, we can definitely break it down and analyze the different things about it. But 3 points, London is red, And the small things. Happy St. Totteringham's Day, everyone. It's the small things. We were definitely hoping for another minor small thing right after our game. I was very interested in Chris Wood's debut for Manchester City. He did pretty well. Did pretty good. I'm sure Pep enjoyed the performance from Chris Wood. How many sitters do you want? Goodness gracious, man.
Hey man, we're fine with people missing shots.
I'm sure you are.
Again, I'm just if we and I don't begrudge anything from the past. The number of deflections that have gone against City early in the season, man, I'm gonna just say it's balancing.
You've gotten 2 deflections back though for you.
Hey man, we'll take
in recent times.
We'll take it. We'll take it, man.
But
it was, Gavardiol, he's this guy. You forget that he's 21.
He's 21.
He's 21 years old.
Wow.
He's just getting started. Like he's not even near what he's gonna be. The man can play center half.
He's
he can
huge.
play fullback. He's a giant guy. That header was so dirty, like he did it with it was like straight off the training ground, straight off. This is what we do, and it's just I think he has 3 and 5 or something like that, and so that's good for him, and it's good to see Haaland back in a real goal. He had to do some work around, but I didn't know De Bruyne had 2 assists. I forgot he had gotten a first assist, but then he had 2 assists in the game.
He got man of the match from Sky.
Did he? I didn't know he got man of the match.
From one of them. I don't know if it was NBC's man of the match, but one of them he got man of the match.
Well, here on it's like Opta Score, I think is he has man of the match.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and I'm not gonna be critical, but I'm gonna be critical, right? In the last probably 2-3 games, Bernardo Silva has played. I mean, you love his effort and all that, but going forward, he's been really rough, man. Like he was misplacing a bunch of passes going forward, and he was missing runs, and it was weird because you can see he's
getting my hopes up.
He's good, but there's something off, and he corrects it with hustle and effort, but there's something off in his game a little bit. And so you can now see it's like a guy here and there. Like, for example, like Foden didn't play. Foden wasn't even in the lineup, right? And, you look at there's been just consistent movement back and forth that kind of prevents consistent chemistry with the group, right? I mean, it's good that, there's always a next guy up. But, it can be something where, you can appreciate the resolve. Like, for example, Ederson, like when the guy just rammed into his shoulder, and then he.
Whoa! I want to discuss this.
What do you think happened? It wasn't a foul.
How is it different than Onana on the day before?
Well,
how is it different? Onana punches a guy in his face. Ederson punches a guy in his face.
But that's not where he hurt his shoulder though.
Yeah, that was exactly the play that hurt his shoulder, where they should have conceded a penalty.
No, man.
That's where he hurt his shoulder.
No, that's not where he hurt his shoulder. That wasn't where he hurt his shoulder.
He went down after that collision with Bowley in the box.
Because he went up and the player hit him in his shoulder. Then he dropped down and got back up, and then he made another save, and then he stayed down.
I'm talking about the first time he's hit. When the player hits his shoulder, Akanji's heading the ball out, right? And Ederson is doing this to try to punch the ball, and he punches the Forest player in the head and hurts himself.
He got the ball. What are you talking about?
Akanji headed the ball. Ederson never touched the ball. It's a clear pin.
I got to look at that.
It's a clear pin, man. Akanji heads the ball away, and Bowley gets clobbered by Ederson. The same exact thing that Onana did to the Burnley man the day before conceded the pin.
Well, I'm going to look at it because, again,
I watched it not 30 minutes ago. I watched the highlights just a little bit ago to refresh.
but I'll look at it because I don't see that. But okay.
They didn't think it was a pin, so I'm clearly wrong. But
no, I'm not saying
and obviously biased. I'm obviously biased.
Now you are biased. Now we're not going to question that. But yeah, I mean, if that's hold on, I'm looking. Hold on, now let me look at it.
To me, they seem very, very similar. And Onana conceded a pin. And Man U, who, let's face it, didn't deserve to win that game.
I mean,
did not win the game. Right? Well, they did the same thing they always do. Man U thinks. And,
Well, United is who they are.
While you're looking for that, as much as I do think.
Now that I've looked at it, he didn't even get his arms up. You can go. He didn't get his arms up at all.
I'll have to go really look back into it
because he's coming out. Yeah, so he's coming out, and his arms start to go up, and then the attacking player is going to the same position, and Akanji cuts in front of him, and that's when the keeper and the player collide. Now I don't know how you would call it a pen because the ball is gone and.
Because I'm desperate to win this league. That's why I would call it. I don't know
how you call that a pen, but again, I didn't call it a foul. I don't think it was a foul on the player. That the player didn't foul him anything. That's 50-50. That's an error. But
at the end of the day, though, it's one of those where, in my heart of hearts, I know if they level it up, you'll probably win 4-1 instead of 2-0.
Well, but I give Forest credit because they came out firing early. And
they should have scored 4 times.
But the thing about it was they never could put anything together, and they just
didn't have the finishing touch. Chris Wood decided to accept the little brown envelope from the Sheik and fluff his lines every chance he got. Unbelievable, man. They legit should have had 4 goals.
Yeah, well, we've played multiple people where they should have had a bunch of goals. I can think of a Real Madrid match where City should have had a fulfilling goals. And
you should have scored. You also should have scored 2 or 3 more as well. Yeah,
but we take the result. Again, I think it was good to see Haaland actually do what he does. His placement and movement to score the goal was great to see. He needed that. I mean, even though I don't know if I'm in Pep's head a little bit because I said, hey, bring him on in the 60, let him get his legs, score a goal. This is literally what happened. And it's funny because we're on the record for that.
You needed him though.
Yeah.
Pep reckoned it wasn't just a routine.
He changed the team at halftime. He changed the team.
Yeah, it wasn't just a routine. Haaland needs minutes. It was we're under it a little bit. We're under it a little bit here. We need somebody.
Alvarez was inconsistent, and I just think the style because he brought Kovac on and took Doku off to get control back, and after that you could see that. I don't think they were terribly concerned about conceding. I think their goal was about playing better going forward, and it just again that's where Bernardo was out there doing passes, and I don't know what this is. Jack. I mean, they took Jack off. I didn't think Jack was great in the game either. So it is what it is. But I think the fact that Pep has been able to make these constant changes, you give him credit for recognizing, that people say City is deep. Well, everybody can play every position. So it's good Ortega came on, and he's had plenty of opportunities to play and show his worth. So we'll take 3 points and move on to the next game.
Yeah, man. I really, 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 really wanted you guys to lose this game. I thought that, but yeah, like I said, I think Haaland coming on, I think, it was something you don't really necessarily see from City very often, where it's like they kind of need a little bit of a boost, and then for Haaland to come on and do what he does,
exactly what he was paid for.
Just remind everybody, I'm still here. I'm still top of the league of the goal scoring charts. You know, I can still run past the guy and slot it home. Don't worry, Gary Neville. I got your League 2 goal right here. You know, I'm still here. City's still here. Don't worry. You know, that's kind of, and it's like, because that's what it felt like to me as an Arsenal fan watching the game, because I'm like, Forest are actually doing it here. They're actually playing well.
Yeah.
You know, okay, it's 1-0. They conceded a goal, but you know, it's getting later in the game, and okay, Pep has kind of gained control again with his changes. Pep does that. He's a brilliant manager, but Forest are still getting chances. So I kind of, you know, was a little bit kind of had my hopes up, and then Haaland come on is like, yeah, we're still here. We're still right behind you.
And you know, the great part about that is that last year, that's basically what he was about. And this difference is the city has just shown that they can do it without him. I mean, obviously Alvarez and Foden have really picked up the slack, and it's great for them. And it's still I'm still baffled at the fact that De Bruyne has only played 20 games, 21 games,
21 games, I think,
and has 15 assists. Like, imagine if he played the season. Like, this guy is, I'm standing by it. If he doesn't get hurt last year, he wins the Ballon d'Or. I know, you know, the Haaland hype and all that, but De Bruyne literally would have. He had the cachet of being one of the top guys in the world anyways. So even though Messi would have for sure gotten a shout, I think it would have been much, much closer. And they would have used, if Messi wins it like he did, they would have used more of the excuse would have been that the Haaland took votes away from De Bruyne. That's the most that you would have gotten. But I mean, this guy has not completed the last 3-4 seasons. He's had rough injury issues, and he's still put up insane numbers, man. It's crazy. And you can see he's not at his best either. Like, you can see he's not where he needs to be or wants to be, and he's still doing what he's doing. Like,
you think he'll ever get back there? Like, not like banter aside. Like, do you think his injury might kind of he's past the heights?
Well, you know,
he's 32, right?
I think so. But you know, the thing is, I was about to say, I think he's going to be like what Pirlo was at Juve. I think and here's the funny thing, which I didn't know. I mean, I knew they were going after him, but and I know you wouldn't want to hear this happen anyways, but the goal last season was to buy Rice to play next to Rodri with De Bruyne. I'm just telling you, it was over for the league if that's what happened, because that means Rice and Rodri could interchange, and one could sit back while and you see how good Rodri is a straight up 8 now. He's a straight up 8 now, man. Like, he got goals in this thing, and Rice can do it too. So
over.
It would have been over.
Just pack it in. Just pack it in at that point.
Because then when De Bruyne got hurt, you would have just stuck Foden right there.
I mean, look what Rice did to our defense.
Right. And so,
you know,
and so when I saw that, I think that the goal was to get him, because that would have preserved De Bruyne even more. So I think they're going to go for either a 6 or 8 in the summer, and like a legit one. And that'll be so De Bruyne can just sit and play the 10, and they're just going to let him Pirlo it. And he has still has more athleticism than Pirlo had. But I mean, if you watched Pirlo, and you know he's a big a Luka Modric fan, and you can see Luka towards the end of his career, he still has, you know, the bits in him too. I think De Bruyne is going to find ways where he's seen enough examples where he can still be that elite guy, but he's just not going to do all the other things, and they're going to pick and put the pieces around him so he can kind of stay where he is and help where he needs to help. So will he get to those heights of that was connected to his physicality? Unlikely, but I think he's going to find a different gear where because you see he's more aggressive now too. I don't know if you've watched, he's way more aggressive than he was when he played before too, because he's not a small guy. He's about 6 feet. And I mean, he's banging on people and he's put on some muscle. So I think that's what he's going to go for, where maybe they play him. Obviously he did 10, but they might try a couple of spaces where he might play around with the false 9 as well, just because he probably can hold up the ball a little bit better and have Haaland and those guys on the wings run off him. And you already know his vision is insane. So I'm and even though the rumors love to swirl that they Saudi's going to offer a bajillion dollars for him, which is funny because City doesn't need the money. So it's a sheik. Like, he's not going to be like, oh, I need this money.
No.
Oh my God. So De Bruyne is not going anywhere, not for money at least. And for sure, De Bruyne is going to stay 10 so he can get his testimonial because, he's a team legend. This is also, I think he and Pep, well, De Bruyne will have 10 before Pep because De Bruyne will be 10 next year and Pep will be 2 years. So, but I think I've strangely enough, after watching the Messi, there's a video of when Pep left Barcelona and Messi was there and, they were all emotional about it. I think they're going to leave at the same time. That's what I think. I think Pep and De Bruyne will leave at the same time.
Yeah, that's that day can't get here quick enough.
Well, what's funny is, and I hear a lot of people say, and I know you're joking while being serious as well, but it's interesting for 2 reasons. One, for example, the Prem is very grateful that Pep exists because the guys that he's worked with and the philosophy he used is literally ingrained in the teams that are great. So clearly you needed him there because otherwise English football was never going to do what he does at all. Because remember, his system wasn't going to work. And now all of a sudden it's the whole league, at least the top tier of the league. The second thing is that I do love the jokes about City falling off as if the owner is going to stop having money. But Manuel Pellegrini was pretty good at what he did. He won a double, 2 league titles. And then Mancini was pretty good. So, will those new managers have the cachet? I don't know. But we also don't know in 2 years who the candidate will be because it could be anybody. And the thing about it is that Pep had influence on who the guy, Tata, rest his soul, who replaced him at Barcelona. He had influence on that. So I find it hard to believe that he won't have influence on who the next guy is. I find it really hard. And in addition to that, and so when people's like, because I've seen people say, well, it'll be like United with Alex Ferguson. Well, first of all, City's not History FC. We're Right Now FC because we're building. This is our period of history. So, we're trying to extend it as long as we can. And we live in the moment, right? We appreciate what's there and being noticed at all. But Alex Ferguson was there so long that he created the vacuum, and that's part of the reason because he never trained anybody to replace him. There was nobody that you could see. And then the thing is, Alex Ferguson didn't necessarily have a style that a manager would emulate. His was the cult of personality. Pep is personality with tactics. So, for example, and I'm not saying this was going to happen, but literally, you could take Arteta from Arsenal, stick him in City, and you don't miss a beat. You don't miss a beat. Right. Obviously, there's some cachet there, but style-wise, playing-wise, City would still be banging on people, right?
Right.
And so you look at that, and you're like, well, so they're not going to miss the style. They're going to hire a manager that matches the style. The greatest question is who is going to be, the guy? And obviously, if Barcelona was able to figure it out, and, you look at what they're doing, if they were able to figure it out, and they have a lot of history, I respect Barcelona's history. The organization, the way it's being run now is a bit different. But you look at that and you say, well, there's going to be somebody. Are they going to be Pep? No. Just like at Arsenal right now, there's Arsene Wenger is Arsene Wenger, period. There's no next Wenger. Now, Arteta is creating his own path, and he's built the foundation for his statue, right? But above the statue, but above the statue is still a clump that's just a block of rock, right? He's still chiseling it, right? But he's done enough to say, okay, he's the next guy up, but he's not Wenger. And so when you look at it that way, nobody's ever going to be the last guy, but you hope your next guy, and you plan and you pick your next guy to say, okay, I want you to be you, but understand the standard that this other guy made, which is, I'm sure, what Arteta had, because Arteta played for Wenger, so he understands, hey, this guy did this. I know you're not him, but you need to channel whatever inner him you have in addition to whatever tactics you bring. And I mean, you look at Arteta's been there for 5 years, right? Is that right? 5. And in 5 years, you compare his 5 years to anybody else's 5 years at a top club, and he's right there with everybody in their first 5 years. And so, and again, I know as a supporter, it's hard because you see the potential. He's like, come on, but from an outsider, I see and respect what he's done, and the trajectory is going exactly where you can see he's building it towards. So you respect that. So just looking at it, I know people are looking forward to that day. No City fan is looking forward to it, but I appreciate it, because if the organization has done what they're supposed to do, the best manager matching the style will want to be there anyways. And so you won't have to go recruit anybody. They'll just come. Yeah. And they'll create their next whatever. And hopefully, and I mean, if we're being honest, I know I'm saying this as a sports fan, but as an Arsenal fan, you probably don't want it. I hope that person comes in and can rival with whoever else is at the top, so you can have competitive ball, because that's what makes the league fun.
Well, remember what we said earlier before we came on about how, or I don't know if we were talking about it today, but we've talked about it before, about the fact that you can have all this money, but you still got to spend it correctly. You still got to be a well-run club, and Manchester City are a well-run club, make no doubt. But you're also the Manchester City group, and you've got, connections to Girona and connections in the French league and whatever. And so knowing the way City operates, I would be willing to bet that somebody somewhere in the group is being groomed.
Yeah.
Is being groomed, Well,
Vieira was getting groomed before, but Vieira's had a rough time of it as a manager. He has a rough time of it. He has so much potential, but again, it's the personality. And I mean, I know Vieira's an Arsenal guy, but City supporters respect what he did for the team as well. And he had a rough time, man, because it's more than just. It's so many things. That's why I respect what Arteta's done, because it's hard, man.
Yeah, it's why. I think that I would be a very good tactical coach. I would be very good at running training. I'd be very good at, knowing where people are supposed to be and knowing how to put the team together and the formations and all of that side of it. I have a really short fuse.
The man management is gone.
So on the other side of it, I know that I would need work. I would have to, I would really, but to be an Alex Ferguson, to be a Arsene Wenger, to be a Pep Guardiola, because very clearly Pep Guardiola has had very few player feuds, problems with players and stuff, So to be the guy that does it all really well is rare and is special, and I'm sure City are going to be trying to groom someone.
Yeah, I think so. What they were talking about, the manager at Girona is probably likely. I mean, look what they've done this year. They're going to make Champions League this year.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they're going to be allowed to play. Isn't that the rule, that you can't play if the ownership or something?
I don't know. Well, I mean, and the Champions League is new next season, so who knows what?
That's true.
What it, who knows? And that's why, to kind of wrap up this bit of it, I really, really as much as I say, jokingly, can't wait for Pep to leave the league or whatever, I desperately want to beat Pep while he's still here, man. No, for real. Just imagine, yes, winning the league for the first time in 20 years would be epic, regardless of who it's against. No matter what. Winning the league is going to be epic. It's going to be amazing. But to be able to say, yeah, we won the league against Pep, against maybe one of the best teams ever, the team that we pipped for their four-peat. That's an even like bigger thing to say, you know. And then in 3 years, if it takes us another 3 years to win the league, and we win the league the first season that Pep's gone, it's going to be, oh well, you know, the greatest ever left, so now you get to have it because the best is not there anymore. You know what I mean? I desperately want to beat Pep.
And that's the competitiveness in you, but at the same time, I'm the guy that, you know, whenever I can win it, I don't care how it comes. You can put all the asterisks in the world on my stuff. I got what I got. Like if you get it, if you graduate or whatever, they can't take it from you. Once you got it, you got it. You know, and so you look at it and you say, well, you know, it is what it is. So I mean, I understand from the competitive side. For example, for City, it was super important in 2012 because they beat United and Ferguson to win it. But then they bottled it the next year, which to me as a supporter, kind of selling it because they were not good that next year. They weren't. It was a terrible title defense. But you also know defending a title is super hard because everybody's shooting for you, whereas they weren't shooting for you before, and now they're really studying you, and you're always getting everyone's best shot, which is why I respect the Forest. Forest was like, hey, let's go get them. And I expect everybody to come at City with their best shot for the rest of the season, just like I expect everyone to come at Arsenal with their best shot for the rest of the season. I'm not going to talk about Liverpool because we're not there yet, but I'm sure we're going to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, the best way to segue to Liverpool is actually, you know, I was talking about how City are probably grooming someone. It doesn't seem like Liverpool, you know, maybe Klopp's announcement kind of came on them. I personally feel like Klopp's announcement was forced because it was going to leak, you know, and they had to bring it out. But they clearly have it. You know, Arne Slot seems a new commodity. Seems, you know, he's the Feyenoord coach. And, of course, his details in his CV are all coming into the light, of course, because he's linked with Liverpool and he may be the next coach. I'm not sure if it's a done deal. You know, I don't really believe things until there's ink on paper.
Right.
But, you know, there seems to be a bit of a scramble over at Liverpool and outside of it, you know, and I just doubt that City are ever going to be in that situation.
Well, you know, the thing that's interesting, we talked about this last year, and, you know, because Liverpool, you know, had a struggle last year, and we looked back and saw that, you know, Klopp after 7 years is about the time when he tends to either be gone or is let go. And not because he's a bad manager, it's just the style of ball he plays is so taxing, and it requires literally you have to refresh your whole team every 4 years with that guy. And there's nothing wrong with that because you do want to have fresh players. And I mean, the life cycle of a player at their peak is probably 5 years anyways. But you look at it, you're like, but man, you think about like that's a really short period for me to run through what we're doing. And because it's Liverpool and they have tons of history, you want a guy who wants to be there, but we live in the modern era where that's not happening anymore. That's I couldn't even fathom it. So, you know, like for example, when Pep, who is Klopp's contemporary, Pep was like, "Hey, I'm not going to be coaching until I'm 60. What do I want to do that for? You know, like I got life I want to live." And so, you know, you look at Klopp. So when Klopp was like, "Hey, I'm tired," you could see it the year before he was tired. Like you would see it. So, I mean, this is where you kind of look at the ownership and say, hey, man, so you're telling me you weren't looking at anybody before this happened? Because I feel like
it feels that way, though, doesn't it?
No, it does. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, you weren't looking at anyone? Because the next thing is the refresh. Like I saw comments come up about should Liverpool have sold Salah in the summer? Well, I mean, the easy question with hindsight is yes. It's the easy answer, right? Because then you can say Coutinho money for the next 25 years, right? But you can say Salah money. But I mean,
especially if they knew he was going to play poorly in the run-in, like he's had a poor run.
But you know, the thing about it is that now AFCON, unfortunately, because I know a lot of people, you know, kind of hate on AFCON, but AFCON played a significant role in this one, man. Like him getting injured in the AFCON really ruined their season. Because if he doesn't get hurt there, then I think he continues to. He was playing great at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we were talking about he was the player of the season. He was killing it. So AFCON really derailed what they were going to do. Probably part of the reason why they decided to do a documentary this year, which I don't know if it will come out. But I'm not laughing to be disrespectful.
They may go back on that decision.
But I hate that it came out, right? I hate that the story about that came out, because then it just makes it fodder for jokes and stuff. Because now it kind of makes everything you see about what the players have done during the season feel a little contrived. Like when Trent said, "Hey man, you know, us winning means more than you winning."
It makes more sense now because you were on a documentary. Yeah,
that sounds like a soundbite you was trying to throw in there because you thought you were going to win, which is fair enough. You should think you're going to win, but that was done intentionally. And so I don't know, man. I really don't know. I mean, I think somebody said it. I think Pep said it, but some other people said it. Like the draw was detrimental. I mean, I'm not going to use catastrophic because everybody else still has to play games, but it's pretty damaging to what they're doing, because I mean, West Ham didn't let up, man, and you could see there's a lot of tension there, and it's when you go on the road, it's the bubbles, man. It's the bubbles get to you.
Yeah, man, you definitely got to give credit to West Ham. The game was open, like we knew it would be. Liverpool like to be open. It's same story as it's been for the past couple of weeks. Just miss chance after miss chance after miss chance. I've heard a lot of Liverpool fans on YouTube are very upset with old Darwin Noodles, already talking about, well, it's time for him to go. I think that it felt a little bit, especially after the second goal went in, West Ham's second goal went in, that they were just like, man, all right, whatever, dude. I'm done with this. This is getting long day out here. I'm over it. It felt a little bit defeatist. West Ham definitely wanted it more on the day, and for value for their point. Shout out Mikel Antonio. You know me. I've been a fan, except for when he played against us, and when he wears a Jamaica jersey against the USA. I'm not cool with that. But other than that, I definitely think he's a good player, and I thought he had a good game. But the biggest thing, and it's sad. It really is. It's the way things are going at the end of the season for Klopp, and I don't have anything against Klopp.
No, wonderful manager, absolutely worth it. He's he has been a bright shining star in the league, man.
I think he's been fun to watch. I'm a diehard Arsenal fan, of course, for 20 years, but I always enjoyed Klopp's style. The high press. How I've always said. The way to beat City is to high press them into the ground, into their face, and that's what Klopp's always tried to do. And it's a good thing I'm not Arsenal manager, because we see how Klopp has struggled against Pep with the gegenpress, or however you say that. And but it's definitely entertaining, and I think that the league is definitely losing a great personality.
Absolutely,
an entertaining personality, that's for sure. But the reason I'm saying all that is because it is kind of sad from an objective footballing point of view to just see them stuttering and crashing and burning, and it's not like they're going out losing 4-3 in these crazy games, and they're getting beat by teams that are just simply that little bit much better than them on the day. They're getting blanked by Atalanta, and they're missing myriad of chances, and losing 30-game unbeaten streaks at home to Crystal Palace with a new manager, and It just feels a little at the end of
It
it.
feels like a lack of focus, and but that's, I mean, if I'm being honest, that feels more on the player side. I mean, yes, the manager has a role, but I mean, once you're in between the lines, man, what are you supposed to do? I mean, the coach can't score the goals. The coach can't defend, players. Like he's trusting that you all have seamlessly worked together, and what he saw in training, you will be able to execute when you're on the pitch, man. And every player should know, no matter who their manager is, whenever you play an opponent, their only goal is to beat you. So even if you think they're inferior, it doesn't matter, because their desire to win is beyond what your opinion of them is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely, and speaking of being in between the lines, coming into the lines there, I've heard that Klopp just wanted. I've heard different things. One theory is that Klopp wanted to give Salah like a hug for the cameras before he comes on the field. But to me, it looks like Klopp has said something to him.
Yeah, it does.
That Salah was not happy with. And Salah's reason for anger in the first place seems obvious, since he didn't start him, and there's only 12 minutes left in the game, and he's like, okay, go do a miracle like you always do, and it seemed like Salah's like, oh, you want me to bail you out again? You want me to save your butt again? Why didn't you start me? That's kind of what it feels like, and I get where he's coming from, but also, like, yeah, you're the best player. We're bringing you on. I didn't start you. Whatever. Get over it. Go win the game. You're a professional. Go do what you're getting paid to do.
Yeah.
Who cares what the coach, whatever the coach said to you when you're about to go on the field. Go win the game. That's what you're here to do. That's the only thing you're here to do. And I don't have any sympathy for you, because you've been piss poor for 4 straight games. Of course you got dropped. Duh. What do you expect? This ain't the Sunday beer league. Come on now. If you play poorly, then you can expect to get dropped. And don't be pissed when when that happens. It's your fault. Go prove him wrong instead of telling him, instead of arguing with him on the sideline.
And this is where I feel like X and Patrick probably would be. It's about the badge, man. Who cares what the manager says? None of that matters. Do you want to win the game or not? I've never. I mean, I remember when I coached. I remember when I played. I don't care. Like, if I'm in there, I'm trying to help my team win. I don't need to score the goal. Yes, ego wants you to have the headlines and everyone celebrates you. But at the end of the day, if we won, we won. And that's literally all I care about. And if I'm in a position to win a title, then I really don't care. I really don't. And maybe just because I've never been the focal point or the superstar guy that, there's a humility of I just want to win. But I mean, I think the greatest winners understand that you can't always be the face. And if you can't always be the face, I'm fine with just getting the win. And if I was a part of it, good. Because something I did in training or my position or something helped that accomplish that. So I don't care. Now, again, I'm no footballer that makes tens of millions a year, so I have no idea what it feels like. But, especially in the whole idea of replacement, right? Of, you have this 3 to 5 year window where you're the star. And that probably feels great. The dopamine is beyond any dopamine you can imagine. And you've seen how people treat those guys who are former stars, and how that fall off is, depending on your ego, pretty dramatic. And you're like, well, what do I do post this? Which is why a lot of guys hang on to play longer and longer and longer, even though they're no longer who they were.
Yeah.
Right. And so is Salah who he was before? No. But was he having an amazing season? Yes. And the pride of nation representing Egypt and wearing your colors, I understand it. But if he knew, because I think Klopp announced after AFCON, right? I think he announced after. Is that right?
Yep, it was
If Salah knew, which I don't know if he knew, because a lot of the players seemed like they didn't know, but if Salah knew, and VVD this is also supposed to be his last year. I'm being honest in this moment, because it's Salah, and Salah's always going to get selected. It's sort of like when I was in Colombia, and in the United States is having this. Falcao was always selected, and James Rodriguez is always selected because of who you are, your legacy. No one's going to be better than you, even if you're not good. Salah was always going to get selected. So yeah. I'm not saying he should have sat out, but I think if he knew this was the last run, the last dance, the last ride for Liverpool with Klopp and VVD and that whole thing, hindsight says he may have should have sat out the AFCON. Then look at the form he was in before he went. He was player of the season.
I hear that.
But I mean, if he knows all these narrative things are there, I feel like you win. The club one isn't guaranteed, and it's your point about Pep. The club thing is not guaranteed to be there.
Yeah, but also you also hit on the very reason you gave the reason why he was always going to go to the AFCON.
Yeah, absolutely.
Firstly, Mo Salah is like the face is one of the faces of
King of Egypt
of the Arab world, not just Egypt, of Arab soccer. He's football, whatever.
Yeah,
and definitely of Egypt, but also think about the last AFCON. Egypt lost in the final on penalties. He's been thinking about that since then. So he was never missing this AFCON. He's not for gold, not for nothing. Is he missing this AFCON? So it's just once again, it's just like it comes down to, man, it's just sad how things worked out in the end. And like I say, I don't think anyone knew it was coming. I think Klopp wanted to wait until the end of the season and just retire then, but it was going to get leaked is what I think happened.
Which would have been a giant distraction if it got leaked.
Yeah, it would have been way worse if he hadn't said anything, and then they would have had to scramble to put something together, to try to deal with that. But at the end of the day, their opponents of late have just kind of wanted it more, and they've been punished for being wasteful.
But that's why the run-in, when people talk about the run-in, that's why the run-in it's never, hey, man, let's look at the record. We talked about that before. The record of the team makes no difference in the running. Last 10 games, last 5 games, no one cares about your record. not a single team or player cares. They're like, hey, we're here to win because I'm either auditioning for a new team or I'm trying to help this team make money so they can pay me more money.
Yep. At the end of the day, that's all it means. And especially here at the end, last 5 games in the run-in, 3 points. That's all that matters. Not the arguments on the sidelines, not the who's starting, who doesn't start it. We got to win. That's all that matters. And
hey, give me 1 second. Let me refill this. My throat's a little dry. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, and they didn't do it for Klopp, unfortunately. But while he's gone, we will go ahead and move on. Let me look at this right here. Yes. We are going to discuss Aston Villa when he returns in Chelsea. Title 113. Perfect. Feel free to go get a drink right now as well yourselves. No, but I'll go ahead and kick off on the Chelsea segment here. I think that Chelsea may have just been robbed. May just have been robbed on this one. Oh, man. Thaddeus Shield with a simple nudge. With just a simple nudge.
Dude, that was... I mean, I watched the replay a couple of times, and I'm like...
Yeah, man. This one is like...
I really feel like X has to send us and Patrick have to send us videos or audios of what they thought of this one, man.
Yeah, I may get them to do that, and we'll post some. I'll post some shorts tomorrow, or something to get them to.
That was rough.
I thought from 4 minutes in, they're down 1-0, and I'm thinking, oh crap, here's another 5-0.
There you go.
Here comes another 5-0. But I thought that they responded well to that goal, Chelsea, that is, and I thought they were decent. I think that not having Enzo in there is to their benefit. I don't think they were as good. I don't think it worked out as good. It wasn't as fresh as it was against Everton. But I think that Villa, for the most part, really shut Cole Palmer out. I think they played well in the first half and got their goals. We're up 2-0. Very worthy to be up 2-0. And then, as much as I really don't like Madueke, I thought he had a good game.
He did. He did, man.
He had a good game. Classy finish. For the
his
first
movement
goal.
was good. His movement was good.
He definitely likes to get his head down and take on the man, go at his guy. He's got some pace. I definitely thought that Conor Gallagher's goal was awesome as well.
Yeah, man.
Was very, very good. And you just with his left foot too. I think everyone on the field was surprised by that.
It was so clean, man. It was such a clean strike.
They gave him the space because they're like, all right, Conor Gallagher's not going to cut in an Arjen Robben on us.
Oh, yes, he will.
There's no bet. Yeah, and there you go. Doing his best to impersonate the famous Dutchman. And it looked a little bit weird, a little bit awkward. You know how swinging your left boot at something or your weaker foot at something. I don't know if are you left-footed?
No, I'm right-footed. I'm right.
Swinging your weak foot sometimes can feel a little awkward.
Yeah.
And but he's hit it top bends, and and then at the end of the game, man. Actually, back up. It's funny. I was listening to shout out Matisse Armani. I'm sure if you're watching this and you're a fan of the YouTube football scene, you know who Matisse is, a big Chelsea fan. And I was watching his watch along during halftime. I was listening to him, and he was talking about how Poch has probably given the worst halftime speech anyone's ever given ever. Because that's the track record. Poch has just doesn't seem to give good halftime speeches because Chelsea always come out in a crap at the beginning of the second half. And so I sent him. I posted our halftime by Poch short on Twitter and tagged him in it. And then Pochettino obviously gave a good halftime speech, made a good tactical switch, and now Cuckoo was inverting into the midfield and gave them more bodies in the midfield. And it was actually, it worked. Like a tactical switch from Poch actually had a good impact on the game. Like that might be the first time this season that we've seen that in game. Patrick has been going on about the in-game management. He got one. He got one. There's 3 games left in the season, but he got one. And as much as Patrick and X, and like I say, it might still be a little spite. It might still be a little, they don't want to admit it. But as much as I rag on them, about they should want Kai Havertz back. Like I stand by it because once again, Nico Jackson, bro, the header off the post, man. Come on, how much money are you getting paid? You have one job, bro.
He's definitely below the level of what a Chelsea striker has been. It's
his best finish of the game, his best play of the game. He was offsides. That's that was a good finish. What?
But it makes me wonder because I know when you and Patrick saw them when they played in Atlanta. I mean, obviously it's the preseason, so you're not there. But that guy is definitely different than this guy we're seeing now.
Yeah,
And so
100%.
it's weird, that I don't know. I mean, Chelsea have 5 games, and I mean, it looks like they probably can finish in. Well, now it looks like 8th. It looks like it'd be a stretch to get 7th because Newcastle would have to bomb out and lose all their games.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
But I really don't know. And then they play Spurs next. Now
on Thursday, yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know if they beat Spurs because Spurs is still playing for something because Spurs have 2 games in hand on Villa, and they get those 2 games. That's 6 points, and they're 1 back, and all you need is Villa to just draw 1. So
Villa still play Liverpool,
right? And so Spurs are playing for Europe, man, like Champions League Europe. I mean, I don't know, and I think I give, even though I'm no Spurs fan, and just sort of the updated entrance to the league of what Klopp was. I think if he gets a good window here, I think Ange will be able to do some things. The Spurs jokes, the Spurs jokes will still exist, but yeah, man. So Chelsea have to go at this one. Now, if Chelsea plays Spurs like they've played every other top team, with the exception of the last time they played you, because that was, well, we'll skip talking about that because we know
horrific, but awesome. Also,
yeah. But I think if they go against Spurs and they go for it, and at this point they have to go for it in every game.
They have to.
It can't. We can't even take draws. You have to go for it. Either I lose or I win. Nothing else.
Yeah, tepid 0-0s are just not an option anymore.
But it's sort of that Star Wars, and the funny thing is I don't really know Star Wars. I mean, I'm not a Star Wars dude, so I've caught up on it all late and stuff. But like when Yoda said there's a do and do not or try, something
there is no try. There is no try. Do or do not.
Right. And so, and he says Sith deals in absolutes. Well, I'm gonna be a Sith today with my red lightsaber, and I'm saying they have to win or lose. There's nothing else. Either you win the game or you go all out and you lose.
What do you mean? Man City is the evil empire from Star Wars. What are you talking about, bro? All y'all rock is red lightsabers, dude.
What do you mean, man? We have blue uniforms. We are the bright side of the force, my friend.
Okay.
The bright side of the force.
Yeah, that's going to be a matter of perspective. I'm going to have.
United are the Sith, sir. United.
We can agree on that. I get.
But for Chelsea, I just think this is, it's win or go home, man. Like there's nothing else. It really is nothing else. And I don't know what Pochettino's saying, and I can't wait till X actually does we do the thing with Poch in the halftime talks. But he literally, the halftime speech is, look, man, you're either going to get sold or you're going to play here. And if you play here, it'll be because you went all out, and we'll pay you over 13 years, but we'll pay you for doing well because we're in London. We'll hook you up, but either we win or we go home. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go into a foul, go all the way in. If you're going to take a shot, all the way in. There's nothing else. There's none of this tepid. If you're Jackson, you don't stare at the goal and wait 15 seconds. You're like, you know what? I'm going to just shoot now. I prefer you shoot it in road triple Z than to just stand there and not take the shot.
Yeah.
Everything is just go.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I hope that, the kind of environment, and things that have happened don't really put a dent in that, because if I'm Badia Shield, I also think that what Chelsea, the way they went at the referee after the game was kind of childish, but also I get why they're pissed, because Badia Shield, I've seen players do this and with their arm extended, and it's a clear extension and you can see it and it not get called. Badia Shield doesn't even do that.
Nope.
He just gives him a bump with the shoulder. His arm doesn't even go out. It's not even, his hand isn't like this.
I could think of multiple Arsenal, City, etc. games where that exact foul has happened and nothing has been called.
Nothing
that exact foul, nothing has been called. Like you can't do that on a game winner. Not on a game winner, you can't do that, man. Oof. Maybe he was afraid because he was in Birmingham that he might not make it out of Birmingham, and he was like, "Hey, that might have been it."
Maybe, but I think this is a definite disgrace. Definitely think Chelsea should have won this game. I'm not going to say that they necessarily deserve to win this game. I think you have to put a full 90 minutes together for me to say you deserve to win the game. But like we started the episode with, you don't always get what you necessarily think you deserve, and so while I do think that second half was market improvement in a bubble for Chelsea,
right?
I'm wondering what kind of the controversy will have, kind of the effect will have as they go into the Spurs game, because it is 100% going to be crazy. It always is between these two, especially since. Go ahead.
I was going to say the news that Silva is going to leave is out there, so you got a lot of moving parts. So there's some sentiment going in that as well. Yeah, man, yeah. They got to go. It's go win or go home, man. That's where it is.
It's kind of the same for both of them, right? Because Spurs top four is kind of hanging by a thread. They do have that game in hand. There's a little bit of encouragement. I personally am hoping, and you'll probably never hear me say this again, only for the rest of this season, I want Spurs to win out. Win every game. I need them to be motivated on May 14th. I need them to be motivated on May 14th. So I need them to beat Chelsea. I really do. I hope X and Patrick are not listening right now. But I really, really need Spurs to still want to beat City, because I've heard a couple of different rather famous YouTubers, Tap In Tobes, Miss Abby Summers.
I've heard some things too.
Talking about how if
it's the man with the red button.
Yeah. If Spurs beating City or taking points off City mean Arsenal win the league, they want to lose the game. They want their team. They absolutely want their team to lay down and die and just throw the game, because they would rather not make top four than see Arsenal win a title.
Well, the funny thing is, and I understand, it's the fandom, and this makes the fandom part fun and the supportive part fun. You still got to play all the games. So, I mean, even though, you look at the rest of the games, Arsenal looks like it should be pretty smooth sailing, but you still got to play. You're going to play three more teams that for sure, I would assume, want to win a game.
I mean, are United going to down tools is the expression in England. Are United going to down tools against Arsenal in a couple of weeks so that they can maybe stop Man City from winning? Like, I really, really hope that this is just YouTube banter and that professionals don't do stupid stuff like that.
And I mean, but you look like Villa still is playing for something. This is why I said there's still a chance, for Liverpool. I mean, everybody has to get all their points. If Liverpool went out and City and Arsenal drop points here and there, I mean, that's a big deal. Because Liverpool has 9 points left. And so 9 points will put them at 84.
Sure.
If Arsenal draw their next three games, that puts them at 83. I mean, you got to play every game, and you can't go out and assume. The second the team assumes they're in game 38 is the second you lose. Because you're playing against professionals, their goal is to win. We would love to ruin your season, because I feel confident that these guys have in their contracts bonuses attached to league position and all those things. Why would I not want my money?
At the end of the day, if it's me, yes, I care about tribalism and rivalries, but I'm with you. At the end of the day, if I'm Spurs and my beating City gets me a bonus, I'm coming for you. That's all that
Every single
matters.
time.
Why are they out there in the first place? To make a living. So yeah, I agree 100%.
It's
I don't think that should ever happen.
especially with the and I don't know if it's going to be enacted in the next season with the new the
Salary caps.
spending caps and stuff. Hey man, so you're telling me that my money might get messed up? There's no way. There's no way if you're saying you're capping how much teams can spend, which means teams will be like, well, we can't pay you the same. And if you saying you can't pay me the same, well, I need to get every one of my dimes right now.
Right now.
Right now. I need a new
Goal
contract
bonus?
this summer.
Goal bonus? Oh, you're paying me 5% per goal? Yep, I'm coming. I'm scoring a hat trick every day for the rest of the games.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm with it. I hear that.
And then you look like I don't know about the bottom teams. I don't know if City or Arsenal play any of the bottom teams, but the bottom is something serious. Now I'm not segueing, but if you can if you want to. But like with Luton's result and with Forest's result, that bottom three is looking super tight.
Well, Everton's safe. Arsenal are fine because Everton is safe.
Yeah, just the four.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Forest. But I mean, so you got.
Well, I'm just saying because Everton play Arsenal on the last day.
And Sheffield is relegated.
Safe.
So those last two spots, Luton, Burnley, and Forest. Woo!
Yeah, let's talk about that. But let's get a quick prediction for Chelsea Spurs, and then we'll talk about that.
Hold on, let me. I got to look at the thing, man.
Yeah.
I can't make predictions without staring at the thing.
I'm saying a crazy 2-2.
I think Chelsea. I mean, and you made the point about just a little bit of childishness there, but they've shown that multiple times. But they're showing something different that we haven't seen, and that is the resolve to come back and have the energy. They're a young, spry team. I think they'll be ready. Now I'm looking here. Spurs haven't kept the clean sheet in 6 matches, so that means Chelsea will score. And yeah, I think the Silva thing and the last result, I'm not even homing for the guys. I think Chelsea get a win here. I think it's goals though. I think it's like 3-2. But I think Chelsea get a win here.
I definitely see goals.
And it's a quick turnaround too. Yeah. I got 3-2 and I think Chelsea wins. And it's at home. And it's Thiago Silva's I don't know if this is their last home game, but this feels like it might be a farewell. So hold on. Is this their last home game?
No, they should have one.
No, they play West Ham. West Ham. The next game is their last home game.
Yeah.
No. The last game is a home game, Bournemouth. But yeah, man, I think Chelsea wins 3-2.
Yeah, should be a fun game for sure. But as you mentioned just a moment ago, Everton are safe. Luton Town have really made me sad. And Forest are still very, very much in danger. But let's go right to Old Trafford and your man Vince Kompany. Bro,
hey man,
Burnley are in and with a shot, dude.
I told you, man.
They're back in it, dude. Burnley are back in it with a shot, man, for real. Luton play Everton next. Absolutely massive, dude.
Everton is at the beach, man. Everton's at the beach. Even though I don't know because I didn't know Pickford was only two clean sheets behind Raya.
He can't.
Is that right?
He can't do it.
Why is that? He can't.
He was 4 back. He can only tie Raya. He can only tie Raya.
Is it? Because I thought it was 2. But if it's 4, yeah, it's done. I thought it was 2.
We would have to get scored on in every game for the rest of the season, and Pickford would have to get a shutout every game, and then they would still be joint Golden Glove.
Okay.
Yeah, so Raya's either joint with somebody or he's won it.
Fair enough.
Rut row. Wardrobe malfunctions.
I'm like, what is that?
My thing come down. Yeah, hold on one second. Oh, yeah, I have these nice, easy, convenient clips. Clip it right back up.
There you go.
But yeah, man, I was real disappointed with the Wolves result, with the Luton result. If they can just beat Everton, the problem is Forest play Sheffield and also Burnley. I think the last game of the season is Forest Burnley.
Is it? Hold on.
And that is going to be flipping massive.
Is it? Hold on.
I think so.
Yep, it is. Burnley at Burnley. So it's Burnley
At
Forest.
Burnley.
At Burnley.
Dude.
But Burnley has a rough one because they got Newcastle and Spurs.
Oh, no.
Newcastle and Spurs are up next, man. But Forest plays. Hold on, because now we got to look.
Forest I got to look at it now.
Forest plays Sheffield. They should win that. For Chelsea and the Chelsea.
No, it is. Okay.
They should win one of the next two.
Who's that?
Forest should win one of the next two because they play Sheffield and they play Chelsea. I don't think they'll beat Chelsea, but they should beat.
They should beat Sheffield.
And then they get Burnley, so it might be, dude. It might be
a playoff.
Yeah, man.
It might be a straight up.
Oh my God! Because
it might be a straight up playoff to stave off a relegation playoff, dude.
Yeah, man. Because Luton plays Everton. I think Everton will be fine, but then they play West Ham and Fulham, and I think Fulham and West Ham will beat them. So so Luton has to win the next one, and I don't see it. So I think in the end, Luton will be 19th, and then it'll be between Burnley and Forest for the last one. Oh.
Yeah, so it looks like Forest will win another game, and they'll go to 29.
Yep.
And then Luton might beat Everton and go to 28. Burnley would have to, they're going to have to win at least twice.
Well, I think
they're going to have to beat Newcastle or Spurs or draw both of them.
Yep.
And then they have to beat.
Then they have to beat Forest. And then they have to.
Yeah, there's no not beating Forest. That has to happen no matter what.
They have to beat them.
And you can't lose both of the other two games.
Yep. If they lose one, it's done.
Unless Forest lose to Chelsea. No. Unless Forest don't beat Sheffield. Yeah.
Forest has to lose twice. So this next one, Forest is huge. Man,
if Forest draw and lose,
then they'll be for 4 points, and they're at 26, so they'll be shooting at 30. Burnley is 8 points off of 30. No, 6 points off of 30. Yeah. So if they get 2 draws and they win, that's 5. So they still wouldn't win.
No.
Yeah.
So damn.
So Burnley has to win 2 of the next 3.
Have to win 2 of 3.
Gee.
Unless Forest don't beat Sheffield.
Who plays first?
Well, on the last day, it's everyone at the same time.
But the other 2 games, because because that matters, because like whoever plays first in those other games, like for the next match weeks, because that's going to determine everything. Because if we're looking here, Forest plays Saturday, and Burnley plays the same.
Tottenham Burnley is at 10. Forest and Chelsea's at 12. So Burnley's right before
the second game, right?
On May 11th. That's the penultimate weekend of the season.
Yeah. So Burnley Burnley will set the tide for them, because I assume Forest will lose to Chelsea, but Burnley will be playing first. So if Burnley wins, that puts the pressure super high on Forest to have
both weekends. Actually Burnley Newcastle next weekend is at the same time as Sheffield Forest.
Oh, hold on. Let me see.
So on the 3rd, or on Saturday, May 4th, so next weekend, is Burnley hosting Newcastle and Sheffield hosting Forest. So Burnley are cheering for Sheffield to do a madness, even though they're already relegated.
I mean, the bad part is we've talked about Sheffield being one of the worst Premier League teams we've ever seen. And other Premier League teams you've seen get relegated, there's like one or two jewels on the team that you're like, all right, well, we're going to just raid that team. I don't see anyone on the Sheffield team.
Nope.
And I don't.
Maybe Sebastian Hamer. Maybe.
And even then, when you look at that, like when they go down to the championship, I don't know if they'll be good there either.
Yeah, the championship ain't easy. As you saw from old Leeds, getting wrecked by QPR at the other day. But yeah, man,
I don't know.
It's gonna be tight down there at the bottom for sure. And Burnley can still do it though. To be honest with you, of the three, Burnley are playing the best.
They are, and they've had to play against the big boys to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's still a shot, man. There's still a chance. Luton are really letting me down, so I wouldn't mind seeing Burnley, come back in it.
I mean, the madness is if they all win out. So if they all win out, right? So they all win out until they play at each other, right? So if Luton gets their next 9, if we're just saying crazy stuff, they're at 34. And Burnley wins the next 2, which is 6. That's at 30. And then Forest win their next 2, which puts them at 32. Luton would be above Forest, but Forest. So Burnley, if they beat Forest, do they win? They're at 30, at 33. Forest picks up 2. They're at 32. No, if Burnley wins against Forest and so Forest wins their next 2, Burnley wins their next 2. If Burnley beats them, Burnley would beat them out by 1 point.
So there's a world where Luton and Burnley can escape and put Forest down.
Yeah, man. No, two of them have to go down.
Two of them have to go down.
Two of them have to go down.
You're right. Because Everton's already safe. You're right. Yeah.
But Burnley, literally, if I'm Vinny, right, I'm like, you got to win 2 of the next 3. And you have to win the last one. So you have to win the last one and one of the next 2.
Yeah.
Period. I don't know how it happens, but that's what happens.
Yeah, that's rough pumpkins, dude, because they host it's got to be Newcastle. It's got to be this weekend.
And Newcastle's playing for something, man. Or are they?
No. Yeah, but Newcastle aren't as good away from home.
But Newcastle
they're at Tottenham the next weekend.
But even that, they're not playing for anything because they have a game in hand above West Ham. They're in 7th. They're at 53. West Ham is at 49. So Newcastle has a game to give because they'd still be in front of them. So
that's what I'm saying. Burnley need to bring everything next weekend.
Yeah.
At home versus Newcastle, Burnley have to bring the kitchen sink. They got to bring it all, dude. You got to throw everything.
Even if it's a 3-2 win, that don't matter what the result is, you just got to get 3 points.
Even if it's a 6-5 win, you got to do it. It doesn't matter. This is the one.
Like 0 defenders on the field, all wingers and forwards, man. We're just going, man.
Just play a 3-8 formation.
Just go.
Just if they get past your 8 forwards, just be like, go ahead and score.
So we can start over.
Don't waste time. Let's just start over.
We don't care about anything else.
Oh my goodness!
But
it's gonna be crazy.
Is where, even though we asked the questions, are we the farmers now over in the Prem? Like no one's excited about this. Well, I'm gonna say it because I'm not in the spheres, but no one's excited about. Hey man, who's fighting not to get dropped out of League or out of La Liga or whatever? Like no one is thinking about that, man.
I don't know. I will say that just because of the sports betting apps, I've had an eye on because an easy strategy is to bet against crap teams, right?
Yes.
So I've had my eye on the poorest teams in different leagues, and so I kind of have a little bit of an awareness of like Serie A's relegation battle
Right.
and La Liga's relegation battle, and like in Serie A, Genoa played Cagliari today, and or Cagliari, however you say it, and Genoa was in 12th place when they started the game, 12th, and they clinched safety.
Wow.
From 12th by winning today. So it's like there's very tight at the bottom of Italy as well.
Now that you said that, right, it feels like that might even be something cool worth researching documentary wise, like, the relegation battles, like how it goes in the different countries, because, these teams, they're historic, and the supporters are like diehard. We don't care. We're the Wrexham fans who got promoted, and we're this fan and that fan. So it's something that's missing from as Americans from American sports, because you're never worried about those things. You're just we're bad, whatever. We put the paper
we'll
bag.
Get the best draft pick next year,
and that's it. But there's if you are the bad team in football in Europe, I would even say in Central and South America, it's kind of life or death, man. And you're just like, hey, man, I mean, we'll support it, but we need to do better. Like, for example, I don't know if you ever watched this when I was learning Spanish before I went to Colombia. I watched this show called Club de Cuervos. It's on Netflix, and it's completely in Spanish, and the team got relegated, and I was learning my Spanish, but it was hilarious, the stuff that it went through and all the comedy and all this stuff. And it's what the way they depicted the clubs and how much they mean to the city is important to see. Like when we talk about Burnley and Nottingham Forest and Luton, that it's important. Like I think it would be cool if Luton stays up, but I'm not going to hide my bias that I hope Vinny's successful, right? But if he's not, whatever, right? It's nothing.
Yeah. Personally, for me, it's like I know Burnley. I've seen Burnley. Forest have been around. I know Forest. Luton are fresh. They're new. And if you look at what teams are coming up, Leicester just won the league. They got promoted. Leeds were in second place, and Southampton are in the playoff spots. Like, it's the teams that just went back down. What I'm most excited about, and I really hope, is that Ipswich.
I love them. Ipswich Town.
Did you know that they just got promoted last season into the championship? So it could be a double promotion.
Well,
back-to-back promotions if they get promoted.
I think I told you this when I lived in England for the little time I lived there. I was young, but I got a chance to coach soccer, right? And so the organization I was with was like, hey, well, we got a guy who used to play at Ipswich Town, and he coached with me, and it was so cool. Kevin was the coolest guy. I still talk to Kevin every so often, and I learned like a ton of stuff from him. And then I went to Ipswich Town, and you can go out there when you're young because 18 is 18, right? And so, I mean, they saw me, and they're like, you're a Yank, and everybody had pints and stuff, and the stadium is like dead smack in the center, and you could feel everything, man. So I've always had a small affinity for them, and I used to always play with them on FIFA as well, or EA or whatever it's called now, and I would always raise them up. But it's good to see teams like that, because Ipswich was good back in the day.
Way back in the day. Yeah.
They were good back in the day. So I'm super happy for them and to see that growth. But, my buddy, because he's in England. So I trust his perspective because he knows the town. He was like, he thinks Forest will probably edge it compared to them just schedule wise. But it's, again, he recognizes it's so unpredictable that, I mean, this is where the betting makes all their money, man.
Yeah.
All of it. This time of year is where you make your money.
For sure. It's going to be a crazy run-in, that's for sure. But immediately right in front of us, even though we are no longer a part of it, the Champions League is this week. And any thoughts? I'm going to watch it. I'm looking forward to
I'm going to watch it.
Game, of course.
I'm gonna shoot at you straight. Now that City's not in there, I would have rooted for Arsenal if Arsenal had carried on and City was out. But I'm gonna say I really don't care. I didn't care. But then I thought to myself, you know what? I am rooting for Dortmund.
Yeah, why not?
I want Dortmund to win for the following reason. Now, pretty sure they've won Champions League before. I think they won it twice, if I'm not mistaken, right? Did they win it twice?
I don't know. The only time I remember is TT got beat in the final.
I think Dortmund has won Champions League. But
I don't know. I'll look it up right quick.
But for me, I'm like, I want Dortmund because I'm all about ruining. It makes me sound terrible about ruining the Mbappe show. Yeah, they've only won it once. Dortmund won it once. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I want somebody new because City was new last year, right? And so I mean, but that means
PSG would be new.
No one cares about PSG, bro. No one cares about them. Because I look at it, right? Because has Atleti won it? Hold on, let me look.
Let's go Madrid, yeah.
No, they've been runners up 3 times. They've never won it.
They didn't win? I thought they
never won.
No, they didn't. They didn't beat Real Madrid that season.
Wow. 14 and 15, 13 and 73. Ew. And so all the only winners the legacy team, which is Bayern and
Madrid,
Real Madrid, are playing each other, so they'll cancel each other out. I think Madrid is better than Bayern. Bayern has not been impressive at all this year, but I think Bayern is going to beat them.
I don't.
And here's the reason why I think they're going to beat them. Because the way Real Madrid celebrated beating City, I feel like they thought that was going to be their hardest challenge. And I think Bayern will be I think the 2 legs will be close. I really think it'll be close. And I think Bayern will end up going to the final because even though I think, Tuchel does some weird things, he's good in Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
He's good in Champions League.
But so is Ancelotti.
He is, but again, when Real Madrid won against City, it looked more like relief than anything else. And I just feel like that focus of, sometimes where you're like, we beat them, and then you get punched in the face by the next person. And I feel like it's that. And I know we're talking about the trend that, the winner of City, Madrid has won the last, 3 Champions Leagues. I think that stops this year. I think Bayern ends up in the final. And I think they play Dortmund. And
I might agree with.
The hilarious end to it is I think Dortmund would beat them, which would then make Harry Kane
the biggest
trophyless.
Yeah.
I Dortmund's gonna win. Because I wasn't impressed by PSG at all.
I've literally never been impressed by PSG. I'm impressed by their individuals and their speed. Like as a team, it's
when they face that yellow wall, man. And even though Mbappe, talent-wise, narrative-wise, best player in the world, I'm not going to take that from him because he's an amazing player. He was a ghost in the last fixtures. Ghost. Okay, I think he had a goal? Ghost.
He had a penalty and a tap-in.
Yeah, he was a ghost.
I think it'll be very fun for the neutral, that one. It'll be back and forth. I expect lots of goals. I expect lots of action. In fact, I expect the other one to be open, lots of goals. Well, maybe not so open, but I expect there to be action. Especially if Madrid do what they did against you and they're like, all right, Bayern, you can have the ball. You try it. Let's see what you can do. Then there's going to be goals. It's going to be open and there'll be lots of action.
I think they'll get swamped.
I think it's tough to call, but I think they'll both be entertaining and fun. Personally, I think we're going to see – honestly, I'm just leaning towards Madrid PSG in the final, just on star power alone.
Which, again, is a great narrative for Mbappe to beat them and then go there.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Even though I don't
Absolutely.
see it,
But,
but I don't think PSG holds a candle to Madrid.
no, I hear that as well. I don't think
Not
they
in a
do either.
one-off game. In a
No.
one-off game, no.
I know, yeah. If it's PSG Madrid in the final, I think Madrid smashes them.
Like destroys them.
Yeah, it might be 4-2 Mbappe or 4-3 again, and Mbappe gets a hat trick. But yeah, I think Madrid will wreck them if it comes to that. I think Dortmund might be a spicier test in the final for either Bayern or Madrid. To be honest with you,
I think Dortmund is going to win it, man.
I can see it. I mean, any team that can get this far in the Champions League, I think anyone can win it at this point as well. I think it's going to be fun.
They're in their way up.
I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a little bit painful to hear that anthem tomorrow, but I'll tune in.
In respect, you can't win it every year. You as long as you feel like you've made progress in some way, you can find your own way, even if it doesn't feel like the greatest way. You made progress. You go from there, and Arsenal has made progress. I think Arsenal made progress. Even in City's loss, City has made progress because they're recognized now as a true European contender. Before it was just assumed and they hadn't won anything. Now they've won something, and now you're like, okay, they're legit. They're playing against them at their stadium is something else. So I agree, and I give Arsenal lots of credit. I think you guys you made great leaps. Yeah, there's some mentality stuff that you're still working on, but that only comes through experience.
Absolutely. I think we got plenty of that this season for sure. But yeah, champs will be fun. And of course, so too will the next installment of the Battle of the Bridge on Thursday. Definitely going to be fun stuff. And then we will, of course, be back. Hopefully, we'll have the full panel on Thursday. But we, of course, are certainly glad you've been here this evening. I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up right there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're on our way to our magical 1,000. And, of course, get the likes up. You already know. So, yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And you will.